Today, I'm going to show you how to smooth out skin using frequency separation just like you saw in the intro. And trust me, if you give me just 50 minutes, you'll walk away knowing how to smooth skin like a pro. So what is frequency separation? It's a technique that splits the skin into low frequencies and high frequencies for better control when retouching. Low frequencies mainly contain color and skin tone, and high frequencies hold fine details like skin texture and pores. This method is used by professionals to get that clean, natural look without making the skin appear overly airbrushed. And the best part, you don't need any plugin or paid tools. It's all done inside Color tab. Let's dive in. Take a look at the nodes here. I have 3 nodes in total. The first and last ones are compound nodes where I've already applied my color grading. So for this tutorial, let's focus on the middle node. You can think of this as our starting point. Now, we are going to separate high and low frequencies by setting up our nodes properly. First, click on the existing node, then press Alt-S to add a serial node. Next, press Alt-L to add a layer mixer along with another node. This layer mixer is a key part of the frequency separation method, so keep that in mind as we go through the process. Next, click on the layer mixer, then press Alt-S to add another serial node. Now, let's separate the low and high frequencies. The process is super simple. First, on the lower node, increase the blur radius to 1. Then turn on the highlight mode and take a look at this node. What do you see? Because of the blur, all the fine texture details are gone, right? Since there's no texture or detail left, this node represents the low frequencies. It only retains color and skin tone information. Now that we've created the low frequencies, it's time to generate the high frequencies. So how do we do that? It's actually pretty simple. We just subtract the low frequency node from the original footage. So let's right click on this layer mixer and change the composite mode to subtract. Now take a look at the next node. What do you see? Only the fine details like hair stands and skin texture remain. That's right, this is the high frequency layer. But right now, the final node only contains the high frequency details, meaning we are missing the base skin tone and color information. To restore the natural look of the face, we need to recombine the low and high frequencies. So let's add a few more nodes to do that. First, with the last node selected, press Alt-L to add another layer mixer. Now, right-click the second layer mixer and change its composite mode to Add. At this point, we'll notice that the high-frequency details have become more intense. That's because both layers currently contain high-frequency information and they are being added together. So, let's fix that. First, rename the top node to high frequency to keep things organized. Now, to correctly set up the low frequency, we need to disconnect the first layer mixer from this node. Then, take the blurred node, which we created earlier to isolate the low frequencies, and connect it to this new node. Now, let's check what we've got. Turn on highlight mode, and you'll see that the low node is now carrying the low frequency data because it's receiving the blurred information in a direct pass-through. At this stage, our low and high frequencies are properly separated again. Let's make things a bit clearer by adding one more node after this second layer mixer. Now, we are about 80% done, but there's still a few more steps to complete. First, let's apply a mid-tone detail adjustment to the low frequency node. Select the bottom node and set the mid-tone detail value to -100. Now, turn off highlight mode and let's take a look at what happens. See that? The mid-tone has softened and the overall skin tone looks more uniform. But here's a problem. The mid-tone detail adjustment isn't just affecting the skin, it's also blurring the background. But we only want to smooth the skin, right? So we need to isolate the face using the qualifier, power window, and tracking tools. First, switch to the qualifier tool and rub across the model's face to select the entire skin area. To make things clearer, enable highlight mode so we can see what's being selected. Now, we need to exclude the unwanted area like hair and shadows. Increase the luminance low value to remove darker areas like the hair. And raise the clean black value to further refine the selection. Next, roll the luminance high value slightly to prevent bright highlights from being affected. Adjust the high soft value slightly up to create a smoother transition. And increase the denoise and blur reduce value, slightly clean up any noise in the selection. Now, let's move over to the power window tool. Select the circle power window and adjust it to fit around the subject's face. Switch to the tracker tool and hit track forward and reverse to ensure the mask follows the subject's movement. Now, let's turn off the highlight mode. Something doesn't look right, does it? Let's turn the highlight mode back on and see what's happening. The issue here is that we added the high frequency node to the low frequency node, but the low frequency node only contains the selected skin. This results in an incomplete blend, which makes the image look unnatural. The solution is super simple. Select the low frequency node and add a new serial node. Now, this new node will combine the blood skin tone information from the first low frequency node, the soft mid-tone details from the second low frequency node, and this final low frequency node now properly contains all the low frequency data we need. To keep things organized, let's rename this node to low frequency. Now that we have both the low frequency and high frequency nodes fully set up, let's refine the skin texture to achieve the desired smoothness. First, turn off the highlight mode to view the final blended image. The blur radius in the low frequency node determines how smooth or textured the skin appears. Let's set the blur value to 0.6 and see what happens. Notice how some of the skin texture soften, making the skin look smoother. Now, let's fine-tune it further. If we start from 0.5 and gradually increase it, the skin retains more texture. If we start from 1 and decrease it, the texture becomes progressively softer. This means we can fine-tune the balance between preserving texture and achieving smoothness simply by adjusting this blur value. This is the core concept of frequency separation, isolating the skin tone and texture so you have complete control over both aspects independently. If you want to refine the look even further, you can restore some of the lost highlights. Just add a new node and select the areas where you want to bring back the highlights. Then, increase the mid-tone detail to 100. See that? The highlights are back, adding more dimension to the face. For an even more natural look, you can slightly increase the gain, just enough so it blends seamlessly. That's all I've got for today. If you have a better method or any extra tips, feel free to share them in the comments. I love to hear your thoughts. I'll wrap it up here, but if I get the chance, I also release a tutorial on how I collaborated this footage in the future. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notification. And if you found this helpful, drop a like and leave a comment. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.